Hello and welcome to Out in Front. It is often said what you eat can either make or break you. This is so true within the African Cameroonian context, blessed with so much variety of tasty foods, yet with little knowledge of its nutritional value. The good news is, with a taste of Africa, you can hardly go wrong. And clean eating the African way is clean eating all the way. These principles and much more will be discussed with our guest on today's program. She is Dr. Nagela Nukuna, an award-winning analytical chemist, an ardent wellness advocate, mentor and coach for healthy lifestyles, a writer and researcher. Dr. Nagela Nukuna hails from Balinyonga, northwest region of Cameroon. She is married to Dr. Kenneth Nukuna and mother of 3 children. Hello and welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Nene. It's great to be here.
All right. Now, Dr. Nagela, you came to America in 1993, and over 25 years down the road, you have an out-in-front professional life. It is kind of comforting to know that the foundation on which you stand, was built in Cameroon.
That's very true. I hail from a family of educationists. So my parents, Dr. Elias Nwana, and my mother, Mrs. Odilia Nwana, are both teachers. My father actually hailed from the Ministry of Education, so he was the delegate of education. So we were actually groomed in excellence. And to add to that, I am one of 8 siblings of excellent brothers and sisters who have excelled. So the pressure was on to keep up that standard. My parents sacrificed all their lives to send us to privileged schools like Our Lady of Lourdes College, where I hail from. Definitely a lesson. And I followed that by going to Cast Bambili, where my father was actually one of the pioneer principals. And I followed in his trend as the senior student officer in Bambili.
Wow.
So as I learned about leadership from Cast Bambili, I learned about structured learning, discipline in Our Lady of Lourdes College. And the curriculum was very solid as well. So I came out of this from Cameroon and moved on to University of Lagos, where in the Nigerian way, we always learn sustenance. You learn how to survive.
Yes.
And that has really built up this courage in me to lead everywhere I go.
All right.
So after I left University of Lagos, then I came over here to the University of Delaware, and then to Case Western, where I pursued with my PhD.
Oh, perfect. Now, before we get to discuss about your professional life, let's talk about this passion that you have. You are an ardent wellness advocate and serve as a mentor and coach to numerous women and their families to attain healthy lifestyles. Now,
correct.
what propelled you to this passion that you have?
Well, Nene, I'm really going to tell you a personal story. So when I had my daughters, I was young, I was 21 years old, I had twin girls, and I went through having them and with no weight gain. 10 years later, when my son came around, it was totally different. Of course, I had risen up in age, which is understandable. So I gained quite a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I gained about 70 pounds.
Wow.
And I was totally out of myself. It just didn't seem like me anymore. I was looking at 210 pounds at some point. So I went over to my OBGYN for my regular checkup. And I started complaining. I gave excuses like, I am actually on these birth control pills. And I think that's probably what's making me gain all this weight. And I noticed that she had this grin on her face. She was about 110 pounds, young 45-year-old
Wow.
OBGYN. And she gave me this look and she said, I've heard all kinds of excuses, but I think this one tops the list.
Oh my gosh.
I felt really bad. And inside me, I knew she was telling the truth. I knew using birth control pills is something that may actually destabilize your hormones, but it's not going to make you gain 60, 70 pounds. And childbirth should not make you gain that much weight, because you can lose it if you do the right things. So I went back home and I talked to my husband, my very dear Dr. Kenneth Nukuna, and I was complaining bitterly about how harsh my OBGYN was to me. And the response I got from him was complete silence.
Just to say, I agree with her.
And that was very clear to me that I had to pick up and start something. So I went online, I went through all books that I could get my hands on, and I did my research. And I found out the answer was within me. And I started my journey.
Yeah. And talking about journey, you have pioneered building up knowledge base of nutritional and caloric contents for African food in the diaspora by authoring a recent book known as A Taste of Africa, Fusion of Food, Wellness and Family. You want to tell me more about this book?
Yes. So when I started this journey, the first thing I realized was that most of the weight loss plans out in the diaspora did not have anything to do with African food. And there was absolutely no way I would change my culture, I would change my taste buds, I would change my lifestyle to start eating something else. So I went ahead and I looked all around for any knowledge of our food, and there was little or nothing. I mean, if you look at some websites online, you would find some information. So that's what really pushed me to go out and take our meals. And as a chemist, I started understanding what the nutritional contents were, and I calculated from the recipes what the values were. And that's what's entailed in this book. It has family stories, it has stories of how we cooked, but it takes each meal and it gives you step by step with measurements for especially our kids in the diaspora as well as our kids back home who don't know how to cook the way we cook by just putting this and that. So we actually have measurements, we have serving sizes, we have nutritional contents in terms of how many calories, what amount of vitamins, what amount of proteins, what amount of antioxidants are in each meal. So it actually gives you the value content of all our meals.
Perfect. Now tell me about this new concept that you are currently championing. It is known as clean eating the African way. And you affirm that there is a major paradigm change in African eating trends. Now you want to tell me, first of all, what is clean eating the African way?
So clean eating is well known now in the diaspora. But as I said, nothing to do with African food.
Exactly.
Is the oldest trend, especially for African meals, was clean eating. Westernization has actually messed us up. Now we add salts and sugars. We're adding a lot more oil. You go to the market in Bamenda right now and they're selling you Aero, and they have a pot of oil where they're adding oil onto the Aero. Our ancestors never ate like that. Our ancestors were clean eaters. We just need to get back to that paradigm. We need to move away from the fats and the oils and the complex carbohydrates.
All right. Now, we often get to hear about Chinese cuisine, French cuisine, Italian cuisine, even American cuisine. Now, I want to find out, do you think African cuisine, particularly Cameroonian cuisine, stands a chance to be recognized as a very important cuisine when we're talking about wellness, talking about taste, talking about quality?
Absolutely. In fact, African cuisine should be the trendsetter. Because as I have said, we really are the clean eaters. We have everything in there that fits the natural world as well as the wellness world. We just haven't showcased our meals as much as the Asian cuisine. And that's where I am really driven to change that. There are a few of us out there now who are actually selling African meals in grocery stores around. Unfortunately, we're still shading it under Jamaican meals or under Caribbean meals. We need to stand out and say, this is African. This is Ndole. Use the African names and just explain it like we have done in A Taste of Africa.
Perfect. Now, you've got a weight loss plan. I think it actually worked for you because you left from 220 pounds.
210 pounds.
210 pounds and you've dropped to 140.
Correct.
Great. Now, tell me about this weight loss plan because a lot of us have a misconception about weight loss. When you talk about the 10 commandments of losing weight, this magic 10 commandments, we want to hear about it.
Yes. So Nagela has actually taken the long-term plan of weight loss, making it a life change. So the first thing is, as I said, know what you eat. You should be able to accurately estimate the calorie intake. For example, I come from Bali. So I'm going to Balinyonga. I'm going to start off with my fufu and vegetable. Here is the size. This is 1 serving size of your fufu. So your mouse pad. So think about it. Or your fist is 1 serving size of your fufu. So typically we call this the fufu bundles that we make at the Pons Palace. That's your 1 serving size. That's 150 calories. If you want to have your vegetable, typically this is a good serving size plate. All you should do in your mind is break it up into 4 quarters. Your vegetables should take half of the plate. Your carbohydrates, which would be your fufu, should be your mouse pad. And your meats, which we started consuming a lot more of.
Exactly.
And I would focus here on lean meats. So your fish, seafood, white meats, white chicken, game meat, country fowl, all the things rabbit, grumbib, all the things that we know in Cameroon are healthy. Stick with that, but stick with the tennis size ball, nothing more. Okay? And your carbohydrates, think about it as, or your vegetables, make sure you have it as half your plate. That's the whole concept. If your meals are divided like this, you're probably consuming about 500 calories per meal. So that's the first thing. Know what you eat. Know your body. Know exactly how much, what your frame size is. Know what will cause you obesity. When I was 210 pounds, I was beyond obese. By the time I got to 180 pounds, I was still obese. When I got to 160 pounds, I was overweight. At 148, I have finally come to a healthy weight. Now, some of my friends who saw me when I was 210 pounds will turn and look at me right now and say, is she sick?
Yeah.
No, I am not sick. Please do not discourage people who have lost weight. I am healthy. My blood pressure is down. My cholesterol is down.
Okay.
And I feel as young as when I was 20 years old. Number 3 is this concept of clean eating. Go back to how our ancestors used to eat. Cut down on the fats, cut down on the excess oils, on the salts, on the sugars. Clean eating, straight from the farm. Non-processed foods, non-refined sugars. Number 4, break your fast. If someone ever tells you to skip breakfast, that's the easiest way to start gaining weight.
Wow.
For those out there who think you have to starve yourself to lose weight, you're doing the complete opposite. Because what you're telling yourself is that store everything that's in there. And you slow down your metabolism, you start crawling like a snail.
Oh my.
So you need to eat to boost that metabolism. So the first thing is to break that fast. So that's number 4. Number 5, as I said, break up your meals to small quantities. Eat at least 5 times a day. But I'm not talking about big meals. I'm talking about 200 calorie meals, which, as I said, from A Taste of Africa, you would get a good concept of what these meals are.
Yeah.
Number 6, get a full, active, diversified workout.
Wow.
It's very important. I am an avid runner. I used to run even when I was 210 pounds. I did a few half marathons. And at some point, I lost weight up to about 165 pounds. And then I plateaued. Why? Because I did not have the strength. I wasn't lifting weights. So you need to do a diversified weight loss plan where you're mixing
I do admire your biceps though.
You're mixing up weightlifting.
Yeah.
You're mixing up all different kinds of cardiovascular exercises, yoga, flexibility, mix it all up and do things that will keep you active. Number 7, it is well known that 20%, it's the 20-80 ratio. 80% of your weight loss is really how much you consume in terms of food. 20% is how active you are. That is true for the first phase. That is very true. if you cut down on the food drastically, you would lose weight. But at some point, you will stall. You have to increase that activity level.
Oh my.
So I would say phase 2, you are at about 30-70%.
Yeah.
You're still cutting down on the food. And phase 3, you're almost at 50-50. You have to do hardcore exercises.
Okay.
To keep losing the weight. Number 8, we're almost there.
Yes.
No mind is strong enough. I don't care how strong you think you are. No mind is strong enough to do this on your own.
Oh.
You need a support system. You need to join a group. I have a weight loss group where I have 16 to 20 girls motivating each other every day, sharing their weight loss pictures, sharing their sweaty pictures, sharing their weight, how they're changing from one day to the other, and motivating each other. Surround yourself with people who are positive. And don't listen to people who tell you, oh, you don't overdrive. You look sick. You look sick. So far as you know, you're doing the right thing. You're eating healthy. You're not starving yourself. You're working out hard. Yeah. Keep at it. Number 9, go to bed aesthetically hungry. Go to bed with a light stomach. To the point where you're feeling, in Cameroon, we call it langa. Your last meal should be 3 hours before you go to bed. Number 10, this is a lifelong process. You cannot turn around and say, I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
Because immediately you do that, the weight will creep back in exponentially, unfortunately.
Now, let's go back to your professional life. I mean, I know you're very passionate about food, about wellness, about dieting, but another passion of mine in your life is your professional life, which is kind of very outstanding. You are an analytical chemist for the OLED business. What does this entail? Tell me about your job.
So on a typical day, I get to work. Now, OLED means organic light emitting devices. If you look at all the up and coming TVs, like the Samsung TVs, the LG TVs, the very high definition with very good contrast angles and very bright colors. They are coming from organic light emitting devices that are embedded in the TVs. Okay. So we make those compounds. We make some of those compounds, and right now I lead, because these compounds have to be extremely pure, usually 99.9% pure. So I, as an analytical chemist, we have all the tools to ensure this purity in these compounds. So I lead a team of about 5 in DuPont, which is a well-known American chemical company. And we make sure that we get the highest purity semiconductor compounds for OLED business.
Now, from the description of your job, it demands a rigorous training. I understand you have a PhD in chemistry plus a postdoctoral fellowship at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation.
That's correct.
And you want to tell me a little bit about your training? What does it take to become a chemist, a PhD chemist like you, or working for OLED?
As I said in the beginning, it takes the initial training that we got back home. It takes that urge to learn. So when we came into this country, when I came, my husband and I moved into America, we did not have all the opportunities that Americans typically have. But we had that urge to learn. So it took me getting another master's degree. I already had a master's degree in the University of Lagos. I had to get into the system somehow. So I got another master's degree from Delaware State University. And as I started building up my network, I worked a little bit for 20 hours a week, as is allocated for people who don't have papers in this country. So as I built that network, I eventually got admitted into Case Western Reserve University, one of the top-notch chemistry programs in the world. And we didn't have enough money. I mean, my husband and I were basically starting from scratch. But there are so many opportunities in different fields in America that we Africans have not taken full advantage of. I remember when I came into this country, everybody was telling me, oh, go into nursing. That's a fine profession. No doubt about it. But if everybody is a nurse,
Exactly.
there are not going to be enough chemists. There are not going to be enough, other entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
So I had to follow what I had started off with. So I went ahead and I said, if I have to be a chemist, I have to be at the best. So I went to the best school. I had a thorough quality education from Case Western Reserve University with the best mentors out there. And I followed up and I went to the Cleveland Clinic and I worked in clinical chemistry. And I had a mentor there who has made me who I am today, Dr. Stan Hazen. And that pushed me towards coming back into AstraZeneca, and I led a team, an analytical team in AstraZeneca, looking at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 drugs, the medications that we take, like Seroquel. And then from there, I moved into DuPont. So it's been a lot of hard work, but I've also been lucky to have the best mentors.
You are on top of your game. 25 years of an outstanding career. You have received numerous awards. You want to tell me the realities of your job, first of all, as a woman, and then as an African immigrant. What advice do you give to those who aspire to being you?
Yes, it is a challenge. There's no doubt about that. I go to DuPont sometimes and I find that we women, not just of African origin, but we women are usually the minority, especially in the science and engineering world. But it's not a no-go area. We are actually up to the task. Nowadays, we have women mentors out there. We have women pioneers. We have women who have gone to space. There is absolutely no reason why we can't pick up this career. When I was in Our Lady of Lourdes, of course it's a girls' school, I used to find out that math and physics was a lot easier for me. The way you get to the top is you actually have to ask for it. How do you ask for leadership roles? First of all, you're at the top of your game, technically. For me in analytical chemistry, I have to be at the top of my game. That's number one. But number two, there are certain things that go against me. As you said, I'm a female. I'm an African. I come with an accent. So those things naturally would go against me. But you have to surpass that by doing extremely well and asking for leadership roles.
Now, let's talk a family life. You are married to your very dear Dr. Kenneth Nukuna. You've been married for 23 years, and I understand that he's a medical doctor.
Yes,
you are a doctor. Now, two doctors in the house, complicity or conflict?
Complicity. Kenneth and I got married when I barely, grew up. I was 21 years old. He was barely 25. We were the youngest couple in Bali at the council there.
Oh.
We were the first youngest couple to get signed in the council. And we were basically children.
Yeah.
And we grew up together. He supported me all the way. I supported him all the way. And we made it, not forgetting family. Of course, family was really engaged in our upbringing. The kids came early. My twin daughters came when I was 22 years old. Wow. And I had the best support that a mother can have. My mother-in-law of blessed memory, Mrs. Florence Nukuna, basically came and took off those kids from my breasts and took care of them until she finally passed away. So we work together. Kenneth and I work together. We're just friends. Of course, all the marital issues come into place, but we deal with it because we have that solid foundation. We know where we started. We know where we came from. We came from nothing, sleeping on the floor, to where we are right now. It's been a lot of hard work, perseverance, all the structural things that we got from our upbringing has really brought us to where we are.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. We've come to the end of the first part of the program. We're going to the second part, which is tic-tac. Dr. Nagela Nukuna, your strength.
Persistence.
Your weakness.
I overdo things.
One thing America has given you and one thing America has taken away from you.
America has given me a lot of opportunity. America has taken away. It's a tough one. Some of the culture that we had back home, like just being able to go knock on somebody's door without letting them know that you're coming.
What animal would you have loved to be if you were not a human, and why?
I would love to be a shark. Why? I mean, most people ask me why a shark. First of all, I love to swim, and it's the healthiest animal in the world.
One thing that nobody knows about you.
I have fear for crowds.
What do you miss most back home?
I miss my friends.
And talking about friends, who are some of your back home friends?
I have a lot of friends back home, especially my friends from Our Lady of Lourdes.
Now, food on your mind.
My best meal actually out there, which unfortunately doesn't make the clean eating, is gari. I love to drink gari.
All right. Now, do you speak the dialect?
Olandi, nene kwangam chanti nga ufunga mandabwa. What I have just said is, Nene, I'm so happy to be in your company that you called me here to do this interview.
All right. Music on your mind. You want to sing?
You raise me up so I can
Stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Ah, that's nice.
Love it, love it. It's a great song, great message.
It's with those optimistic words, ladies and gentlemen, that we come to the end of today's edition of the program. Hope to see you next time. It was nice having you.
Thank you so much, Nene. This was a blast.